Continuing on with our definitions, we begin with an acronym that will help us remember the 4 parts of a policy. The 4 parts of a policy. The acronym is DICE. D stands for declarations. The declarations page is the first page of the policy. The declarations page, the first page of the policy. I had a student who said, can I think of it like my insurance card I give to the police officer when I get pulled over when they're giving me a ticket? Yeah, with one exception. So everything that's found on your insurance card is found on your declarations page. Who is the insurer? Who is the insured? What is the effective date of coverage? What is the policy? The only thing that's found in the declarations page that's not found on your insurance card is your premium. So within your declarations page, it does discuss your premium. Of course, it says what are your policy limits on your declarations page. So D, declarations. I stands for insuring agreement. So depending on which policy you purchase, the insuring agreement will be different. It says what perils are covered. So let me ask you, on an HO3 for the dwelling, is it named peril or is it all risk? HO3, all risk. If it was a DP2, it would be the broad form, which would be a named peril policy. So in the insuring agreement, it describes what perils are covered. C stands for conditions. Conditions apply to both the insurer and the insured. So conditions are things like, well, let me ask, if there is a loss and you think somebody broke a law, should you call the police? Of course. Should you protect your property from further damage? Yes. Should the insurance company pay a valid claim? Of course. So conditions apply to both parties. We'll learn more about specific conditions as we go along. E stands for exclusions. Exclusions are typically found where? First page or last page of the policy? Typically towards the back of the policy. Exclusions are things that are never covered. Things that are never covered. There's a couple big exclusions. Flood, war, and earthquake, they're never covered. Flood, war, and earthquake, as well as intentional damage you would inflict upon others. That's never covered either. So exclusions. So the acronym is DICE to help you remember the 4 parts of a policy. Now I do need to make one more point. In the declarations page, you will find who is the named insured. So if this is my auto policy, my name is Susie Rhodes, I would be listed as the named insured. Not to be confused with what are called definitions. Within the policy, you'll find definitions. They're typically things that are in quotes. Who is covered as an insured is listed in the definitions. For example, I am the named insured on this auto policy. Where is my name found? Declarations page. Who else is covered as an insured is found within the definitions of the policy. On my auto policy, it would include any permissive user. So the auto policy, it's very broad as far as who is covered as an insured. On a homeowner's policy, within the definitions of an insured would be any family members that are living in my home. So I might be the named insured, but if my aunt was living in my home, she would be covered as an insured under the definitions. So where do you look to see who is covered as an insured by the policy? In the definitions of the policy. Duties of the insured after a loss. Things like give prompt notice of claim, provide written proof of loss as soon as reasonably possible. Protect your property against further damage as well. Obligations of the insurer of the insurance company vary depending upon which policy was purchased. So we talked about basic, broad, and special. So the obligations of the insurance company. Well, let me quiz you. On a DP1, is your dwelling covered replacement cost or ACV? ACV, because that's the worst policy you can get.